The only other criticism is with the original contract from the city that it was not a competitively bid contract. However, it is a professional contract, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Right.
And professional contracts are not bid by the city. It's
Yeah,
like hiring a lawyer.
Yeah.
You go out and hire a lawyer, you go out and hire an audit firm, you go out and hire an accountant, you go out and hire any professional. It is not competitively bid. Is that true or false?
That is true, and I can call you back with the statute citation, but there is an NRS statute that gives
I've read enough
municipalities.
NRS lately, I'm not interested in it.
It gives municipalities the ability to essentially sole source professional service contracts.
So this is considered a professional service
Right.
under the terms of the type of contract that you signed with the city.
Right.
Is that a true statement?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
And these judgments are made by the city based on resumes, in this case, our resumes as a collective group, whether or not the city thought we were professional and able to do this.
Plus,
As a steering committee
a-
and then as
well,
a board.
even As it, going through as a board, we have they did a very thorough, I don't know, and I haven't been privy at all to the number of people making applications to do this committee. And I made an application to it and I was selected. Sometimes I wonder why, but I was
We
selected.
do too.
Yeah, I know. I'm the troublemaker. But anyhow, but there were other people that didn't get selected. So basically the steering committee was selected based on experience. When the city council saw what we did, you know, they wanted to make sure we weren't going to walk away and not know how it's going to be put together. They wanted the same qualifications to put it together. So they kind of twisted our arms to move ahead with it, which you know, to give back to the community. That's what all of us are doing here, is giving back to the community. We had, none of us have any of all the people to be open, completely open. I probably have the most to gain by if somebody buys some property. Maybe my commercial building won't stop going down in value. You know, I may just start stopping the decline. You know, that's about the best thing I'm going to get out of this in any short term or right now. So. And hopefully help some of the businesses that are here, some of the people that do have some buildings, have some land. There's been a massive investment of private capital buying land out at the industrial park, putting the infrastructures in, putting in all the sewer and the electric. I mean, just like the electric, everybody said, well, Overton Power. No, Overton Power doesn't put any of that infrastructure in. The contractors pay Overton Power to put all that in. So Overton Power doesn't do that. Yeah, they charge you for electricity, but they don't pay for any of that infrastructure or the water or anything. Those contractors that bought that land, that pad-ready land out there, they've paid for that out of their pocket, and cash.
The other part of that process, I guess, if you will, when we were working on the agreement, we met with city staff, we talked with the city attorney. The city attorney was confident that she had read the statutes properly, and that the city council had the ability to contract a professional service without a competitive bid.
Because isn't that type of contract similar to what they previously signed with the state lobbyists and you know, those kinds of people? So it's under the same purview,
Exactly.
same statute type
Yeah.
thing.
And one would assume that the city attorney would not knowingly allow the city council to sign something that was not legal.
We're hoping.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident about that.
I'm confident of our attorney that she didn't let that happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Were you approved as a group? I mean, did they go, okay, well, we'll take you, and this guy wanted to do it, we'll take him, but you were all working on it together, and so they
Right.
just said, as a group, you got it.
Yes.
Mhm.
But we've had
Four of the seven of us.
Yeah, there
There
were
were
seven that
originally
started
seven.
out in the open meetings
Right.
that we used to get to the process to present to the city council.
Then we set up the 501c6, we then become a typical nonprofit self-perpetuating.
And that was the four of you.
Right.
I've actually just come on as a board member in the last
Dan just
week,
joined.
10 days. So.
I know all of the steering committee meetings were open open to the public because I went to way too many of them. Are your board of director meetings open to the public?
Hadn't thought about it, but,
They wouldn't normally be open to the
No.
public.
Okay.
Again, we're a 501. We've got reporting that we have to do. But that's, board meetings are not open to the, they don't have to be.
Yeah.
Can we open them? We could, but
We'd have a lot
Your
of-
books have to be open, but
Right.
your board meetings do not have to
Right.
be.
There'll be a lot, there's gonna be, and there are, whether the public likes it or not, I understand sometimes, but we can't, if somebody comes in to tell us, we can't tell you it's company A or company B. It doesn't serve the purpose to expose that on initial visit. And like George says, we will bound by confidentiality agreements on different, this is the way the economic development works. So we have to play with those rules. We can't make up our own rules and hope to be successful. We have to work within the acceptable rules of economic development. And so we would get into a board meeting, we would call a board meeting and say, got any public comment, close the board meeting for executive session, have everybody leave. I mean, that would, in essence, what it would end up being. But with light of that, opening it up to the public, one of the things we are looking at doing is developing, with Gay gets on board, and we start getting some of the organizations, is having an advisory committee. So we're looking at having an advisory committee. Now, how we're gonna select and how we're gonna structure and how we're gonna do all that stuff, we really don't know, other than the fact that we want that.
yeah, you know, I've not been here very long, but I've met so many people with talent and background and connections and contacts, and that probably serve on boards of directors somewhere. And in fact, we've had one person call us who's an investor in a private company, and that company's looking for a location, and you know, the fella called us up and we met with him and we're in conversations with the company. There's just a lot of resource people here, so we need to try to find a way to connect with those folks.
there are people who would like to serve on advisory committees who are retired but have a lot of background in what we're trying to do. And they just like to do it. And that's the kind of folks you want to get involved. Again, going back to board meetings too, a lot of what we would talk at a board meeting would be very sensitive to the companies and agencies that we're working with. So that's why again, that's one of the reasons this was formed and taken away, so to speak, and the city said, go do it, because everything they had to do had to be open meetings. And companies don't like to deal that way.
Yeah.
That's why this kind of an organization is set up, and it's set up like this all over the United States.
And that's one of the things that kind of highlight that when George is going back with the organization. The state is really pushing, and that's one of the things, it was really an opportune time for this to take place. And we can thank really the city staff and primarily Aaron Baker for the foresight, because the state was, Governor Sandoval was just elected, and he's come up with, he's put a big push on economic development, restructuring all of the economic development. Everything has a regional flavor to it, and that's why our name has the name Mesquite Regional Business. It's a regional effect. We want to stay, right now, because the city is primarily funding this, it's a city exercise, but we want to extend out to most of the Virgin Valley, Moapa Valley, that whole area. So we have some hope that we can get funding from those, from whatever organizations, the towns, Bunkerville, whatever want to participate, we can make it more regional, expand the region out, and that's the goal of the state, and that's kind of how we've developed the model of what we're doing, because we can't be the Lone Ranger, we can't be, well, here's how we want to do it. We got to fit into the system within the state to how we'll manage and interact with them all.
I just have one more question with the state reorganization of their economic development and the appointment of Steve Hill, I believe is his name, as the economic director for the state. How much contact have you had with him? Has he been to Mesquite? Has he participated in any meetings or discussions with either your organization or the city that you know of? What kind of outreach has the state, particularly Mr. Hill, done with Mesquite, rather than just with Las Vegas or Southern Nevada as a whole?
Steve was actually the president of the Las Vegas Chamber when the governor tapped him, and his office is still in Las Vegas. Steve actually came here to Las Vegas early in the process. I don't think we were.
We were still the committee.
Yeah, we were still in the steering committee stage.
He came to Mesquite.
Yeah, Kate and
Yeah,
Mesquite.
yeah,
Mhm.
right, okay.
Yeah,
So he has visited Mesquite.
yep. And through my professional network, I've talked at some length with a guy named Mike Skaggs, who's Steve's deputy. We're both certified economic developers. We know each other from the national meetings and so on. So I've talked with Mike. He's aware of what we're doing here. Part of the reorganization of the Governor's Office of Economic Development has been to appoint staff people who are both regional and have that particular expertise. Our local guy in Las Vegas who covers Southern Nevada is Perry Ursum, who's also the industrial/logistics guy. And if you recall the Brookings Institute study, there were 7 target areas. One of them was logistics, healthcare, aeronautics, and so on. So Perry's, I think personally, logistics and distribution are going to be a good fit for us because they don't necessarily require natural gas. So I think that'd be a good starting point. So, we've been in a number of meetings with Perry. We've got him scheduled to be here. He had to cancel a meeting this week, in fact. And we've got a better contact probably is Tom Skanke, who's the new director of the Las Vegas Regional Economic Development Council, because Tom has been for 20 years a lobbyist, and he's highly skilled in transportation stuff. He was a governor's classmate, college classmate. He talks to Steve Steve almost every day, from what we understand. So, and we've got Skanke scheduled to come out here and take a tour next month. So we think we've got some good connections built there.
And we've met with Steve every time we've gone to one of the SEDS meetings also. We've had conversations with Steve and lobbied him for our infrastructure issues
With Tom.
here.
With
With Tom and with Steve Hill, so LBRDC or the SEEDS meeting, so.
One of the things that George and Ken have really done is, we have a seat at the table now. We have a voice that I don't feel, for lack of anything else, because it was a city function before, and the cutbacks and everything else, I don't want to blame anybody at all in the city government for this, but we really didn't have our voice at the table, and we have that voice now, which is just critically important to moving Mesquite ahead.
Is that voice a substitution for the city or a pairing of the city?
Well,
I think it's a pairing.
It should be a
because
compliment.
Right.
There are things that.
Okay, complement.
Complimentary.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
I think Roger said, or Dave said, the city's got to govern and be the regulator. We can't do that. We don't want to do that.
we're gonna be the promoter, yeah.
We can promote, we can help make deals, we can facilitate, but at the end of the day, a lot of these are going to be reliant absolutely on city action. And so we've got to have a partnership there with them. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.